Quarter-final time once more in the Copa America. We start tonight in Paysandú. Kick off in just a moment. The United States against Mexico. These countries have met 43 times in all competitions. The United States have won just 7 times, but they did win in their last meeting. Mexico have won 28 of those 43 matches and 8 draws. And the betting is like this. United States 13-8, the draw 11-5, and Mexico 11-8. It looks like a tight one. Commentary team, Don Howe and Ian Dark.
Thank you very much indeed. Paysandú then is the setting, as these two countries, both invited to the Copa America, playing for the tournament in only the second time, fly the flag here. Now here's the United States team, and they've got a few problems. In goal, the policy of alternating the keepers means that Casey Keller is out, Brad Friedel is back. Frank Klopas, a scorer in that magnificent win against Argentina, he's injured, and the decision there means that Claudio Reyna will play, but the biggest miss for the United States is no Marcelo Balboa at the back, one of the key defenders, so Mike Burns is back in the starting lineup. Those are the substitutes you're looking at for the United States. Coming off that quite astonishing win. Okay, Argentina were below strength, they'd already qualified, but a 3-0 win is a massive boost to the confidence of the ever-emerging United States soccer outfit. Now, as for Mexico, one change for them. The talented wide left defender, Ramon Ramirez, is missing. He went off in the last match. His place goes to a forward, Luis Miguel Salvador, who has an international hat-trick to his name. It was against Jamaica, but he is a more advanced player, so it'll be interesting to see how they reorganize. One or two of their usual defenders are out of contention at the moment. That's the substitutes, and some familiar names there like Ambrice, Ramon Ramirez. You won't see him, he's unfit. He would have been in the starting lineup, I'm sure. Del Olmo, lots of experience. Galindez as well there, the oldest man in the party at 34. But the Mexicans, remember, reached the final at the first time of asking of the Copa America in 1993, and they did that coming off 3 group matches where they didn't even have a win. They only got 2 points, but they managed to qualify somehow. Oscar Ruiz of Colombia is the referee tonight, and the referees, I don't know, I think they've been quite impressive so far. Don Howe?
Yes, they have. I mean, they've been very liberal with the yellow cards, but it gets the players to play. You know, they don't go crashing into each other and stopping the game. What we have seen some nice passing at times, some good possession play, and it's mainly because of that, where the referee has clamped down early on in the game, given out a couple of yellow cards, and then the players have got on with the game rather than making silly, horrible tackles. I suppose, Ian, what we're going to say is that, can the United States do it again? I mean, it was such a fantastic and a big surprise result against Argentina. And you tend to think, well, can they do it again? I suppose the way they're playing, I mean, they're playing with a kind of so freedom to go forward and get players forward. I mean, Lallis is popping up all over the place. Now, whether sooner or later they're going to have to pay for that, we don't know. And we mustn't never underestimate Mexico, because I think they're a good side, and I think they're a well-organised side, and they get players from midfield positions forward very, very quickly. It looks to me as though we're going to have a super game tonight.
Well, let's hope so. Remember, the Mexicans beat the Republic of Ireland at the World Cup amid the furnace. So was the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. And Luis Garcia, who just can't stop scoring, got 2 on that occasion. He's got 4 of Mexico's 5 goals. He's the top scorer in this tournament. Fast emerging talent, and he's only added to his reputation here. The Mexicans, well, they've got that man in goal again, Jorge Campos, who was used in a recent match against Chile as a striker, and the coach Barone came in for a fair bit of stick over that. He was under some pressure going into this championship, and only a month or so ago the United States beat Mexico 4-0 in the US Cup. So that again is a little tonic for the Americans, who actually won that US Cup. Their form's been very good. They've won now 4 of their last 6 matches in all competitions with 1 draw. The only defeat was against the Bolivians here, when they must have wondered how they didn't score in the second half. The USA in the white shirts here, Mexico in their usual green. Pitch in much better condition here than at the Centenario Stadium in Montevideo, but then again nearly every other pitch in the world is. This is Espinosa.
I'm trying to work out how the States are going to play without Balboa. You know, are they going to play 3 centre-backs tonight and change the shape of their team?
Bernal's ball in, easily intercepted. Here's Ernie Stewart. And playing wide on the right and seems to be deployed on the left here. Bernal being pulled up, not shown the yellow card for that challenge.
I think 1 or 2 people thought that perhaps Tom Dooley would drop back into that centre-half spot. I just have a feeling they'll play 3 centre-backs, United States. Caligiuri, who is a good experienced left-back, he can tuck in there and kind of be the left centre-back of the 3.
Caligiuri playing the ball in. Good looking ball forward, looking for Reina, who's back in the side here with Frank Klopas out injured. He picked up 1 or 2 knocks in that match against Argentina, the Americans, and have had to make key changes, the most important being No Balboa, the man with over 100 caps to his name, who was such a rock for them in the World Cup. They've only conceded 2 goals so far. They're continuing their excellent defensive record, though the defence hasn't looked, quite honestly, as good as it did in the World Cup itself. Kobe Jones with the throw.
I mean, straight away it looks as though obviously Kobe Jones is going to play down this right side. Stewart's going to play out on the wide on the left, and Wijnaldum's going to play up the front by himself. That's how the shape looks for the United States at this moment.
Wijnaldum with a bit of support from Joe Max Moore, who will be deployed in a more advanced position as well, I would imagine. And certainly up, lingering with intent. Dooley playing in the centre of the midfield. Looks like Burns is back there, maybe in the centre of the defence. Garcia Aspe playing the ball forward. Number 16 is Coyote. This is Suarez, who played right the way through the World Cup. Plays for the Mexican side at UNAM. That's also Campos' club. This is Luis Garcia, the dangerous goal scorer. The Americans will be watching him very, very carefully indeed, and he's in the book.
That's interesting. I don't think Garcia understands really why he got the yellow card for that. I don't know whether the referee thought he was play acting. I don't know.
Well, he's given the free kick to Mexico.
Yeah. A little bit of dissent. Perhaps he said something because he got up off the floor.
One can only presume that was the answer there. Well, Bernal is usually the man who takes the free kicks. Lalas and Salvador together, waiting. Garcia Aspe hitting it. And Gutierrez with the cross, charged down. Quarter-final of the Copa America. The USA, who didn't win a match the last time, the only other time they came to this championship. Are they going to go into the last 4 to continue their climb up the world ladder? Mexicans driving it in low, doesn't beat the first defender though. Good knock back by Wijnaldum. Dooley letting it run. Nice flowing move this from the Americans. Well cut out though by the defender Rodriguez. Salvador swapping passes with Espinosa.
I do agree with the lads in the studio. I don't think the running about's going to be a problem for the States. They are super fit. It's just if they can keep a clean sheet, I think that's what they've got to aim for.
Mexicans, remember, have only twice since the war failed to reach the World Cup finals, and for one of those they were banned in 1990. That was for playing an overage player in a youth championship. Caligiuri over on the right-hand side. He can play right back as well. That was aimed towards Joe Max Moore. In the group, Mexico lost to Paraguay but came back with a 3-1 win over Venezuela, then drew with Uruguay to secure their place in these quarterfinals. The Americans 2-1 winners over Chile. They lost to Bolivia, but then had that fabulous win over Argentina by 3-0 when Winalda, Klopas and Lalas were the scorers. They were 3 up in 58 minutes. Offside here against the Mexicans.
Good organisation there on the offside. A nice early shout from one of the back three. They held their ground and let the player go offside. Two players come up together. Obviously, Lalas gave the shout there.
Harks laying it to Dooley, but given away. Gutierrez. Always the target is Luis Garcia, but the other Garcia Aspe, his run checked as well. These two countries very used to meeting each other. It's almost like a kind of England-Scotland thing with these two countries. I remember them meeting in a World Cup warm-up match in the Rose Bowl where the USA won 1-0.
See, that's good refereeing there. I mean, there was a silly tackle went into John Harks. He was just playing the ball up. There was no need for it. The referee saw it, and straight away the yellow card come out. So that player now knows he's under a threat. He can't do that now, so he'll have to concentrate on playing football.
Coyote is the man going into the book, the Guadalajara player. He was in the Mexican side which won the CONCACAF Gold Cup in '93, one of the many success stories for the dentist cum coach, Barone. This is Reina for the USA. Now Kobe Jones. Winalda. Cutting it back quite intelligently towards Jones, but the Mexicans had read it. This pitch does look as if it will encourage decent football, doesn't it, Don?
Yes, it does. It's one of the better pitches in this tournament.
That's the number 20, Rodriguez, coming forward. Espinosa also over there on that far side.
I mean, we haven't seen anything like dangerous at the moment, but it's more business-like, this game. You can see the both teams out there really working hard at their game, trying to get things going, trying to get hold of the opposition.
Bernal with the corner. Here's Garcia Aspe. Just for a moment there, the possibility of a shot loomed. Good player, Garcia Aspe. Took the eye at the World Cup when, remember, the Mexicans were only knocked out on a shootout by the excellent Bulgarians. Reina. Of course, there's no extra time, let me remind you, in these quarterfinals. If the scores are level after 90 minutes, we have a shootout similar to the one in which Colombia succeeded last night. They will play Uruguay in the semi-finals. The winners of this one play Brazil or Argentina, and we have that coming up for you live right after this game. So it really is a great night to get the black coffee on, or something a bit stronger if you fancy it. Settle down in your armchair. It's a great night of football. What a match for you. Brazil and Argentina coming up after this, which we hope keeps you entertained in the meantime. That's Vidrio. Across to Suarez. Mexico are one of those countries as well, aren't they, Don, that they often produce very good youth teams as well.
Outstanding youth teams. I mean, they, more times than not, any big youth tournament in between the age of 16 and 21, you can bet your bottom dollar they'll get into the finals of that tournament. In fact, they ought to be producing more of their own players through that system.
Burns taking a central role at the back with Balboa out injured. This is John Harkes of Derby County. When he gets home, you'll find that Craig Short is no longer one of his teammates. He's gone to Everton today. In case you haven't heard, 2.4 million the fee. Meanwhile, back in Paysandu, quite nice football in the middle of the field from the Americans. Can they find any sort of menace, though, in the final third? Neither side really able to do that as yet. No score here, with just 11 minutes on the clock, as Burns plays this one forward towards Winalda. Jones into Joe Max Moore. Foul by Garcia Aspe gives the Americans the free kick.
I think both sides in possession are playing with a lot of patience, to a point that they might be overdoing the possession play. You know, the art of possession really is to get a good forward ball out of that possession. And at times you do think at the moment they're perhaps overpassing the ball. All right, the coaches have perhaps said, hey, you know, it's 90 minutes, be patient out there, knock it around.
Caligiuri. And easy for the multicoloured Campos in goal. Another of his self-designed outfits, no doubt. Now the Mexicans have got a fair bit of support. They have a fair bit of support, by the way, back in the United States. I think there were 15 million Americans of Mexican descent. So this is a kind of a local derby, as we were saying. Reina for the United States to Moore. Moore continuing with his run. Suarez is there, keeping him company over there. And not a lot of support for him. Muscular challenge by Bernal as well. But Moore had been putting himself a bit as well, and it's Mexico's free kick.
Well, he's got to get forward and support Winalda as often as he can. It means a lot of running. And obviously, the lad hasn't given much in the earlier games. He didn't play in the earlier games, so his fitness is going to be okay. It's just his match practice. If he's prepared to get forward on the forward balls, because what the Americans did do, they had a nice balance. They could hold possession, but they could hit it forward when they had to. You know, it wasn't all short stuff. It wasn't all long stuff. There was a nice balance between long and short.
And Moore has got a bit of an eye for goal. He plays for Saarbrücken in Germany. He actually scored 4 in one game for the United States against El Salvador. That was the first time any American had done that since 1934. Espinosa. Garcia Aspe. Feeling Gutierrez. Espinosa again. Bit of a chess match going on at the moment in the middle third.
Very much so, Ian. Very, very much so. I mean, Aspe and the lads in midfield that for Mexico, they're trying to suck the Brazilian team down. They're trying to. The Brazilian team, the USA team, as soon as they lose the ball, they're going deep into their own half. And what the Mexicans are trying to do, they're trying to knock it about and suck them out of that box, pull them forward, pull them down the pitch.
This is the balding figure of Espinosa.
Step up, Ernie!
You see, they're good experienced player, Espinosa and Garcia Aspe. And they know how to hold that ball. They know how to knock, and then get the ball forward at the right time.
Coyote with the challenge. Here's Gutierrez. neither side as yet able to find much cutting edge with a quarter of an hour on the clock. But the prize, a very big one. Place in the last 4 of the Copa America. And at this stage, on their way to the final last time, the Mexicans had a 4-2 win over Peru.
You see in the studio back there, Ian, we've got two Liverpool players in Mark Lawrence and obviously the centre-back as well.
Phil Thompson.
His name left me for a moment. Sorry, Phil. But in Liverpool, they always used to work on, I mean, they were great at possession, but they worked on knock, 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 ping, which meant really pass, 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 get it forward. Pass, 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 get it forward. You know, it wasn't just pass, pass, pass. They got the ping ball in. They got that ball forward at the right time.
I'm sure Phil Thompson will forgive you.
I'm sure he will.
If you're nice to him. That's Coyote. Garcia Aspe up to Luis Garcia. Muscular challenge, but a fair one from Alexi Lalas. Ball out of play. Of course, the one fellow that American defence couldn't cope with over the last few months was Alan Shearer at Wembley. Gutierrez. Lalas cutting it out. Dooley appealing for the handball, not given. Here's Luis Garcia looking for his 5th goal of the championships, but not like that.
Well, I don't think both goalkeepers have been troubled yet. Ian, they haven't had to do much, field a couple of back passes, that's about all.
Brett Friedel back in goal for the United States. They change the goalkeeper every match. That seems a very odd policy to me, but I remember England used to do it with Peter Shilton and Ray Clements. As Winalda. Campos comes, he doesn't win it. Lalas was there. Forward, the Americans with a chance here. Reyna's shot, beaten down. Oh, they were living dangerously there. And for the first time, the Americans really do threaten.
Well, he's not going to get to those crosses, is he? I mean, under pressure, Campos is not tall enough to deal with those crosses. I think he's game. I think he wants to have a go, and I think he wants to get out there. But under pressure, he's never going to catch the ball. It's worth getting people to the edge of the D, so anything that knocks down, you're in on the second ball.
Here it is again. Defender and Campos not really on the same wavelength. It's Reyna's shot.
They ought to get a lot of that tonight. I mean, if they get their crosses in, all they need, they get their midfield players up around that D. They're going to get onto those knockouts, the flapping of the ball rather than a good punch.
No free kick. Kobe Jones now for the Americans. Using his pace and trickery, but are able to keep it in play.
I sometimes think with Kobe Jones, I mean, a good winger gets his crossing. That's his aim, that's his job. I sometimes think that he doesn't assess his situation. He takes his man on, where really he's got half a yard, he could get the cross in.
Well, Steve Sampson, the caretaker coach, but the word around town is that win over Argentina hasn't done his chances of keeping the job any harm at all. They surely will give it to him. They've got to the quarterfinals, and that is what he expected. And Miguel Mejia Barón, the 50-year-old coach of the Mexicans, he led them to the CONCACAF Gold Cup win, runners-up in the Copa America, decent little run in the World Cup when they only went out on the shootout, and here they are here again in the quarterfinals of the Copa America. So it's not a bad record, is it?
Super record.
is one of the linchpins. Garcia Aspe, the number 8. He was voted in the all-star team in the last Copa America. Vidrio up towards Espinosa. Burns and Caligiuri. Moore just selling Dooley a bit short, really, with his layoff. Salvador fresh into the starting lineup in this game. No foul given. Bernal has it on the far side. And really, it's just catching practice for the keeper, who will be glad of the touch of the ball, really, because he's not seen too much of it so far, Brad Friedel.
That's when Lallis looks awkward, when he gets pulled out, it's outside the width of the box. And he virtually becomes either a left back or a right back. Then when he's taken on and the player against him twists and turns, he looks very awkward in that situation, Lallis. He doesn't want to get dragged out of there. He ought to be playing more in the box where he's big and he's strong, and he gets blocks in, gets his head on the ball.
That Mexican defense really crowding around Winalda, not giving him any kind of breathing space at all there. Breathing down his neck all the time. They know the damage he could create. Dooley. Now here's the number 20, Rodriguez. That looks like a corner kick for Mexico.
They're just missing that target man, the States. You know, where in the earlier games they were more direct and got the ball up to the front players. I don't think Winalda he can't play up there by himself. Winalda likes to run. He likes to run out to the flanks.
Bernal with the corner for the Mexicans. We still await the first goal in this Copa America quarter-final. Poor corner. Winalda. Now here's Kobe Jones, has been released by Coventry City.
You can hear the American coaches shouting out to Joe Moore to get forward. I mean, after that corner, Winalda came back and did well on the ball, but obviously they were short of a front player. And they were shouting Joe Moore to get up there, fill that space.
Oh, it's again given away in the middle of the field. Here's Garcia Aspe. Very dangerous on his left foot. He is. Salvador. And Moore had got back from his striking role to win the ball back on the edge of his own penalty area. Salvador getting the better of Alexi Lalas. Good run this from Salvador. But Dooley putting it away with no nonsense to safety.
He's got no patience at all when he gets out there, Lalas. What he's got to do is stay on his feet and stop the cross coming in. He virtually becomes a fullback when he gets pulled out in that right back position. He goes diving in and he gets beaten out there. It's crazy.
You'd think he must have been learning plenty in Serie A.
Yeah, that's
with
right.
Padova, wouldn't you? This is Bernal. Coyote feeding it wide for Espinosa. Dooley cuts it out again. Neither side really able to string a move together for very long. Joe Max Moore. Well, the Americans are annoyed that the offside was given, but not too much point arguing.
I'll tell you who would fit the bill for the way they play in the States. Eric Cantona. He'd do that Joe Moore role absolutely brilliantly. Just coming off that little bit deep, picking up balls, supporting the front player. Eric Cantona or Peter Beasley, just what they could do with.
That presumably would be a pay-as-you-play arrangement for Eric Cantona, would it?
Yes, it would.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he can play that role. I mean, he's such a talented player. He's hard to mark. He comes off deep. He can knit it together with his midfield players, and he can always support the front player. He can always get into that box.
And we'll be seeing him again in October.
Yeah. And let's hope he gets over his problems that he's had, and that he gets down to playing well, which we can do, and grace our game again. Because on his day, he was, no doubt about it, an outstanding performer. Terrific for the kids to watch.
The bad news for the USA is that he is not American. Both sides here, at the moment, could do with the inspiration of a Cantona-like figure.
Well, they're going to sit that back there, the States. They're not going to start closing down until he gets in there off. Then they'll start making contact. Then they'll stop the ball trying to be played forward. Then they'll close down.
Luis Garcia, not for the first time, finds himself clattered into. Mexico will have a free kick. This Marcelino Bernal seems to be the man they channel a lot of things through, along with Garcia Aspe.
Very much so, especially on that right side. He's involved all the time, and he finishes up getting some nice balls into the box.
A goal scorer against Italy as well at the World Cup. Bernal, who strikes this one now. Well, that was a shade on the optimistic side. How can we put it?
Just a little bit. From that distance, it's got to be some powerful shot. But you never know. I mean, these days, these balls do swing and move around. Little deflections off defenders. Anything can happen.
I think that one would have needed a big deflection, wouldn't it? No goals. 27 minutes on the clock. Live action from the Copa America on the Sky Sports, and still to come, Brazil and Argentina. One of the most significant matches you'll see in world football this year. Bernal again. Suarez, who plays for UNAM. He was a regular in the World Cup side. Vidrio, who has it now, wasn't. But he did play in the Olympics. He actually made his debut against the United States a couple of years ago. Vidrio, who's in the center of the defense tonight for Mexico. Here's John Harkes. Lawless to Dooley. Oh, Lawless, that was careless. How costly might it be? Luis Garcia was the man who intercepted it, but the Mexicans have gone back again with Coyote to rebuild. An awful lot of square balls being played. Now, where's it all going? The Americans are not going to be suckered forward there.
No, they're not.
Staying back, and
they're just sitting there.
Defend and get behind that ball.
They'll wait for that ball to come over the halfway line before they start making contact.
Of course, the Mexicans with no Hugo Sanchez, controversially, in this tournament. He is 37 years of age now. Barón has now dispensed with his services. Salvador lays it forward, and Espinosa, but the flag, I think, was up on that far side. Just as well, because Espinosa blazed away.
That's a lovely little bit of skill, Ian. I mean, a lovely little run and a flick over the defender. He was offside, but it was a super move. That's a clever little ball, that.
That must have been tight when it was played.
Yes.
Very tight. But I tell you what, with that finish, Espinosa's mighty glad it was ruled offside, I think. I don't know, maybe he'd heard the whistle and let's be fair to him. Maybe.
Well, I think what you do, you sort of stick it in the net, and then if it's offside afterwards, fine. But you stick it in the net first, son.
But for that flag, it would have gone down as a chronic miss. Salvador, hat-trick against Jamaica, a couple of goals against Canada for him. He's in the World Cup squad, but didn't play in the USA, getting his chance in the starting lineup here, with the Mexicans having to rearrange with Ramon Ramirez out. Joe Max Moore, Claudio Reyna, Moore again. There's the dreadlocked Californian Kobe Jones.
Julie, come on, Julie, work back. Keep moving, Joe.
Lawless. Suarez is the winner in the air. Suarez's pass is cut out. Here's Wijnaldum. He's been a danger man so far, Wijnaldum, with 3 goals, and that's the 3rd booking for Mexico already. None for the United States. And so the yellow cards are beginning to tot up a bit for them. Let's have a look exactly what happened here.
But he is clever, Wijnaldum. I mean, he's got good feet, Ian. I mean, the greatest respect for the defenders. You know, they'd be reaching for the ball, and he'd move the ball quickly. And really, it's a mistimed tackle.
Luis Garcia, Coyote, now Bernal in the books for the United States. ...32 pretty cautious, cagey minutes gone so far.
Ian, it's cat and mouse all the time. Yeah, it really is. You know, it doesn't make for excitement, but when a goal goes in, I think you'll see a complete change of emphasis.
Well, then one side will have to get a bit more ambitious.
Yes, that's right. I mean, the States are only going to play on the break. I mean, they're just going to fall back into their own half. When they get possession, then off they go with the runners getting forward. And the Mexico, they're playing the opposite way. They're saying, well, we'll keep the ball, we'll keep the wood. Come out and get it. If you want it, you'll have to come and get it. Hoping to pull them down the pitch and then get in behind them. It's not working at the moment.
Lawless for the Americans. Reyna made something of it. Dooley. Now it's Kobe Jones. Harks. Thinks about the shot. Thinks again, and then plants it 10 yards wide. He won't need telling that that wasn't what was required. He's got the captain's armband tonight, John Harks.
I suppose with Campos being so small, a shot from distance is worth a try. I mean, if you can hit it with a little bit of pace, kind of under the bar somewhere, I think you'd have a problem getting hold of it, getting to it.
He does save long shots, though, doesn't he? What about that one from New York in that advert?
Yeah. And that was from a long distance. I think that was one to the other side of the Atlantic.
Don't worry about it. Nothing you can do.
Coyote for the Mexicans. Real cat and mouse stuff, this one so far. Caligiuri bringing it out of defense, but the Mexicans have it back again with Suarez. Harks really working hard in the center of that midfield. I know a lot of observers in South America have been very impressed with the Americans in terms of organization, physical strength, work rate.
Yep. I think they go to the Copa Institute in Dallas for their fitness. I mean, they've got this fellow who trained all the astronauts, and I think he makes out fitness programs for them. And they do come to these competitions, as they did in the World Cup as well. Super fit.
Well, they're not in outer space tonight. They're in Paysandu, very much on Earth, and they're drawing 0-0 in the quarter-final with Mexico.
They all seem to run with a long stride. It's like a conserving energy stride. You watch them when they're recovering, you know, it's big, long, kind of 8-foot strides.
Yes, the number of supposedly shock wins by the Americans are building up now on an almost yearly basis. There was the triumph over England a couple of years back, not to mention the one back a long time ago, as Gutierrez heads that back to Campos. But of course they beat Colombia at the World Cup. They've beaten Argentina this year, so it's getting to be a habit, isn't it?
And we also beat England just before in that other tournament over
the US Cup, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they've got a few scalps of who are high on the football list of quality.
Moore, Kobe Jones. It's a bit tight. No way through for Moore. It was too tight. Garcia Laspe. Ball at times almost stuck to that left boot of his, it seems.
It was great recovery there from Kobe Jones. And he chased Garcia Aspe all the way down this kind of left flank, the States' right flank, and he got a nice slide tackle in on the end of it. Wrapped his foot around the ball.
There we go. There we go.
Both goalkeepers, of course, probably wondering somewhere in the back of their mind whether they might be called on in the penalty shootout. Of course, Campos knows all about that from the World Cup with Bulgaria, and it ended in heartache for the Mexicans. Burns. Long towards Winalda. Experienced Suarez is over there as well. Winalda has some support in the shape of Reina. Reina tries the shot, and every time somebody has tried a shot, they just haven't got hold of it.
No. But I think that's the way ahead for the States. I mean, if they can hit these balls in behind the fullbacks, Ronaldo will make the runs down the flanks. But obviously, if he's going to get down the flanks, they need players getting into the box. That's where Joe Moore and the opposite wingers got to work to get in the box. But and Wijnaldum, when he gets there, when he gets down those flanks, when he makes those runs from the middle out to the flanks, those kind of into-out runs, he has got ability on the ball to beat his man.
Bernal. It's funny, I was just looking at Campos's number there. He's wearing the number 9 in this tournament. Of course, that's the old Hugo Sanchez number, isn't it? He's inherited there. I wonder if there's any significance in that. He wore 1 at the World Cup.
I think most goalkeepers think they could be a good centre forward.
Now, Winalda. Is this the chance for America? Winalda! Oh, what a superb save that was by Campos. He really had to get down very, very quickly.
Well, that's the type of chance they're trying to make, and he did ever so well here on the run. Beat that last defender, had a little bit of luck with the deflection, but it's a good save from Campos. And obviously that's where he will be quick. I mean, he's small and he's close to the ground. He can get on those low shots. It's a great save.
Really was, wasn't it? Because Wijnaldum did nothing wrong here. It's low, it's pretty hard, and he didn't have much time to react. Very acrobatic.
Well, that's what they're waiting for, the States, to get one of those every now and again. I think that's what they're playing for in this first half.
Force him up the line.
Of course, Campos may have special insight into the mind of the striker, having been one himself. Rodriguez pumping it low, not very successfully. He'll have another chance now. Instead, it's Bernal. Back in again by Coyote. But still no way through this pretty tight-looking American defense.
Yep, it's coping quite well. They've just had that one chance, which was offside, and there was a nice little bit of play for Mexico. But they're not really troubling Friedel at all.
Garcia-Aspe. Won by Ernie Stewart. Rather against the odds. Oh, now then Salvador has a chance here. And this time it's the opposite goalkeeper, Brad Friedel, who rescues his side. But that was a horrible mistake by Burns in the first place. He'll be very relieved. And Salvador is foiled.
Yeah, well, here again, another one-on-one with the keeper. It happened down the other end, now it's happened this end. He stood his ground, did Friedel, and he got a good block on the ball. Had a little bit of luck, because I think it rebounded back into the recovering defenders.
Here's the corner kick. Wallace got a head to it. Garcia-Aspe. Caligiuri, versatile defender, hammering it away. Caligiuri winning his 101st cap. He's past the 100 mark at this tournament. Ooh, I think Burns might find himself getting a yellow card for that, unless I'm much mistaken. He does.
Well, it was a completely mistimed tackle. I mean, the ball had gone yesterday. He was so late.
He's having a bit of a mad minute, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He gave the ball away for the chance. Tried a little square ball that got intercepted. And this tackle here, well, is...
And it was the same player that he'd given the ball away to as well.
Yes.
I don't know whether there was a bit of afters there or what, but it was an inevitable yellow card. Here's Garcia-Aspe then to take the free kick for the Mexicans. Likes to drive them low and hard. Comes out to Bernal. Seemed to take a little deflection on the way through. It was off one of the Mexicans, though. I think it might have been our old friend Salvador again.
Yep. But they do clear the box well now, the States. Then when they've been defending as a free kick or a corner, and they knock that ball outside the box, they all squeeze up to the edge of the box very quickly.
Too long this time for Salvador to do anything with it. Both sides, though, in the last 5 minutes have had clear-cut chances. Ronaldo, first of all, for the USA, and then Salvador for Mexico. Here's John Harkes. Nicely done. Kobe Jones. Two English-based players linking up. Moore. Last few seconds of the first half. Luis Garcia, who's been kept very, very quiet, but you could say that about every striker on the pitch in that kind of game. Salvador. Hart showing his physical strength. Jones up to Dooley, who's caught from behind by Suarez. was a tackle from behind, but not a violent enough one to get the referee reaching for his yellow card again.
I think it's been a fairly even first half, Ian. Both have had good chances. Both have had one-on-one with the keeper.
Ronaldo, it's an interesting idea. Only Stewart breaking into the space down the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Creeping on the blind side of the defence.
Gutierrez.
Stay with him! Stay with him!
Gutierrez again. And Ronaldo getting back with the challenge.
Yeah, but it was the shout from the bench that got him back there.
Gutierrez was in the team that played in the Copa America final a couple of years ago when the Mexicans were beaten 2-1 by Argentina. The goal scorer on that occasion, Galindo, is here, but not in the starting lineup on this occasion. Here's the Dutch-based Ernie Stewart, who plays for Willem II. That's the last touch of the first half. Only two really clear-cut chances, one for either side, and it's been, for the most part, a bit cagey, a bit cautious. But stay with us tonight. We've got the whole of the second half live, plus Brazil against Argentina. 0-0 here in this quarter-final at half-time.
Yes, just echoing Don Howe and Ian Darke's sentiments there. So much at stake for all the teams at this stage of the Copa America. This the 8th goalless first half we've had, but just to remind you, in every Copa America match we've brought you, there have been goals somewhere. Then let's get back to Paysandu. This will be played to a finish now. It's Don Howe and Ian Darke once more.
Thank you, fellows. Tom Dooley discussing developments so far with John Harkes. There's a lot of experience in that American team. Just thinking of those two players, Dooley, who has played his football in the Bundesliga, John Harkes, we know all about him from what he's done in England, notably with Sheffield Wednesday, a couple of cup finals to his name.
That's right, Lallis in Italy. I mean, when you look around the side, Stewart in Holland, I mean, all these players are getting invaluable experience in countries where the football's of a good standard.
Yep,
I mean,
they're not rookies anymore, are they?
No, they're not. You can't, I mean, you can't do any better than some of the countries. I mean, you can't play any better than Italy and Germany and Holland. I mean,
we're now American fans here as well, Tom.
Yes, that's right. It's good to see, getting support. I mean, I don't know how long the flight down to Uruguay is from the States, well, 4 or 5 hours. I think here that listening to the lads in the studio is that it's who's going to crack first, who's going to lose their concentration. It would be lovely to think that both the coaches have gone into this room and say, hey, you know, we've got to get through tonight. You know, we've got to go forward. We've got to be positive. We've got to win the game. Let's have a go. But it's a little bit different than that. You know, they might say, look, you know, if we keep it there, if we play with a little bit more patience, the other team might lose their concentration. They might crack. We might be able to get in there and get a chance. And I'd like to think that the second... It's a coach's game, Ian. It's not a supporter's game. It's about two coaches playing cat and mouse with each other. One team dropping off and sucking the other team forward. The other team holding the ball, hoping to suck that team forward.
Well, with the local time at 8:10 in the evening, the Americans getting us underway in their white shirts at the start of the second half. 0-0 in this third quarter-final of the 1995 Copa America. The winners of this one play the winners of Brazil against Argentina, which comes up from Rivera after this game. Here's Espinosa for the Mexicans. No substitutions that we can see at half-time.
I think if anyone gets in for the Mexico, it'll be one of these midfield players.
This is Bernal. Lallis goes up for it. He was beaten in the air by Salvador, but couldn't really get any power or authority on the header. Brad Friedel, the goalkeeper here, by the way, as I think we mentioned earlier on in the tournament, is wanted by Sunderland. His work permit problems meant he couldn't go to Newcastle. I wonder if Peter Reid will secure his signature. Oh, that's a good ball by Reina to Wijnaldum. Reina continues with his run. Back in by Stewart, and disappointing ball in the end, but it looked promising for a while.
Yes, he was. It was a nice little through ball from Reina into Wijnaldum, but he got surrounded very quickly by green jerseys.
Eric Wijnaldum, by the way, needs only 3 more goals to equal Bruce Murray's American record of 21. He's got 3 in this tournament so far. He surely will break it. Got a few more international appearances to his name to come, I'm sure. This is Harks. Dooley down the line. Dooley, 34 years of age now. He's past the 50 cap mark in these championships. Reina knocking it onto the speedy Ernie Stewart. Good looking ball, and Kobe Jones with the header, and Campos again to the rescue.
Great stuff from the States. Crossfield ball from Lallis, right out to this left flank. Reina knocked it into Stewart's run. He got a lovely crossing, and the far winger, Kobe Jones, gets into the box, which he's got to do, and gets on the end of it. And a good save once more by Campos. Good agility here.
Now Kobe Jones close. Kobe Jones is closing in on 70 caps. He's just got 6 goals so far. Not a noted goal scorer, though I do seem to remember him scoring a pretty important one for Coventry at Crystal Palace last year in a vital game down at the bottom. Luis Garcia. Alexi Lalas plays it forward. This is the 5th meeting, by the way, between these two countries in the last 2 years. I wonder, Don, whether they're just a bit too familiar with each other. They're cancelling each other out. They know each other too well.
Yeah, that's true, Ian. I mean, you find just before World Cup competitions, is Mexico playing home games in Los Angeles, in the Coliseum or somewhere like that. So obviously the States would they know each other's players inside out.
And so there were 75,000 fans at the Rose Bowl when they met in a friendly just before the World Cup because of the big Hispanic population around the Los Angeles area. Caligiuri trying to get Wijnaldum in behind. Wasn't a bad looking ball. Espinosa. This is Garcia Aspe. Lovely little feint there, just swivel of the hips. Here's Ernie Stewart. Reina. Hamstring injury kept him out of the World Cup, Reina. He's looked quite effective tonight, shown some nice touches. Kobe Jones. That wasn't so effective. Garcia Aspe. Espinosa over there on the far side. Elects for the early ball. It was aimed towards Luis Garcia, but Burns gets it away. Burns, who certainly owes Brad Friedel a rather large drink later on, because he rescued him from that howler which almost presented the Mexicans with a goal in the first half.
You were talking about Reina. He's playing a kind of a semi-outside left, inside left position, and he's going in off the flank. And Ernie Stewart's coming from a deep left back spot, and they're doing quite well down this left side now. You know, they're breaking quickly from the back, the States, and they're getting into crossing positions. And with the lack of height in that Mexican box, it will always be a danger.
I was going to ask you who your money was on, but I think probably speculation is pretty idle, isn't it, at this point?
I think, Ian, with the way the second half started, I think we could get a goal. I think we, you know, they're throwing their midfield forward. The Mexicans are getting Espinosa, and Garcia Aspe forward. The States are getting their full-backs forward, especially down this side. Ernie Stewart, who should get forward anyway, because he's not a left-back. He's just a withdrawn outside left, really.
Vidrio wins it for the Mexicans. Back to Bernal, who's 33 years of age. He's the oldest player out there in the lineup. Good-looking ball gets Espinosa in behind here. Few green shirts waiting in there. Espinosa almost getting a decent bounce of the ball in his favour. Garcia Aspe takes a deflection, and almost a very fortuitous deflection for the Mexicans. It nearly...
They've got to be very diligent, the States, with Espinosa and Garcia Aspe. They keep coming forward now, and they're making runs from deep positions. You know, unless they track them back all the time, they'll get in. And they're clever around that D. They can play a clever little 1-2 or a little angle ball.
Gutierrez chipping it up towards Espinosa, but it was an easy job for Alexi Lalas. Gutierrez. Don't know whether Lalas has been relaxing down at the clubs playing his guitar. I don't know whether they go for that kind of thing around Montevideo and Paysandú. I think they prefer the Latin American. Here's Gutierrez. Cut out by Reyna. Back for Bernal, who always seems to have plenty of time on the ball. Now here's Luis Garcia. Haven't seen a lot of him so far. Garcia Aspe! That was beautifully struck by the little number 8.
Yeah, and I think as the game goes on and one or two players start to feel the pace of things, no doubt about it, those 3 real midfield runners that Mexico have got, Garcia Aspe, Espinosa, they'll get chances. That was dipping, wasn't it?
That was close. It was even closer than it looked at the first time of asking. What was it, about a foot over the angle of post and bar, I reckon. If that. He is dangerous on that left foot. He's scored some important goals in the past, Garcia Aspe. Notably in the qualifiers for the World Cup. Kobe Jones, who came close with that header for the United States. Get the feeling that slowly but surely this game just starting to build up. Oh, Ronaldo was there, and Campos again, the great acrobat. That was some catch, wasn't it?
That's a brilliant save. He took that ball, it was right on Ronaldo's head. I thought, there's a goal here, it's going to be, and Campos come from nowhere to catch that ball. There's Ronaldo just waiting. It was just going to be a little tap into the net, really, but he chested it down and ran it into the net. That's a great save, terrific agility.
He's had a good game here, Campos. In his gaudy outfit. Maybe not every coach's cup of tea as a goalkeeper, but he really has made 2 or 3 super stops here. Lalas getting a lot of spring for his header. Bernal. Nice turn. Good run too. Dooley's back there to win it in front of his defenders.
You see every time that the States get down the flanks, they look dangerous. They could prize a goal out of Mexico with one of those crosses.
Coyote Gutierrez. Both sides, you get the feeling, just beginning to get a bit more ambitious, because they know, like the rest of us, that the penalty shootout looms ever nearer. And in that situation, the finger of suspicion can end up pointing at anyone. It was poor old Carlos Gamarra.
They call it the finger, the fickle finger of fate here. That's what they call it. They say anything could happen.
Bernal. Nice stuff from Bernal. Ooh, he was lining up the shot there with Marcelino Bernal. Mexicans beginning to ask one or two questions. Rodriguez. Suarez has to go backwards. Campos is quite happy to have the ball. He'd be quite happy to get in the other half of the field if he could, I'm sure. He was once top goal scorer for his club back in 1989, would you believe, as a striker. 14 goals in the season.
Go! Go!
Well, it's great if you've got a goalkeeper who is good with his feet. I mean, you can knock it back to him, and these days, where they have to use their feet, you're not afraid to do that. You know he's going to be able to handle the ball, and he can play it out. It's not just going to boot at the length of the pitch.
Booking for kicking the ball away. Beginning to mount up. That's the 6th of the night. And it's Lawless this time. 3 apiece. Free kick was aimed towards Luis Garcia by Garcia Raspe, but Kobe Jones trying to set off the counter, but not like that. Few chance of Mexico bringing around the stadium as the green shirts look to press forward again. Espinosa trying to get Rodriguez in behind there. Reina was back there defending for the USA. I'm sure the Americans knew that they wouldn't be able to repeat their 4-0 hammering of Mexico in the US Cup last month. This is a rather more significant stage.
I would say this to the state, because they've had to shuffle the pack and play players in different positions. They're coping quite well. I mean, Reina and Stewart down this kind of left back position are doing that very, very well. I mean, they're getting back and they're tackling and they're looking like a left back. And the same with Burns and Caligiuri. I mean, they're playing in these 3 centre-back positions and they're doing well. I mean, Lallis, I thought Lallis would play between them, but he's not. He's virtually playing in the right back spot. And Burns is the centre of the kind of 3 centre-back positions.
Exactly 1 hour gone here. Still USA 0, Mexico 0. Remember, no extra time. It will be a penalty shootout if the scores are level after 90 minutes. And after that, it will be one of the great games of world football in prospect. Brazil against Argentina, live from Rivera. John Harkes. Lallis has come forward again, scored against Argentina, remember. Won it in the air as well. Back in again by Burns, none too accurately, and an offside. Or I think it must have been a push, because there was there's another defender.
I think he's getting a bit frustrated, Lallis. I mean, they're checking him and blocking him in those dead ball situations, and he's saying to the referee, "Hey, watch what they're doing to me." Referees never want to know around the box in that situation.
Salvador. Kobe Jones. John Harkes. There are one or two chants from the Mexican fans of Hermosillo. Now, he is the one of the big stars of Mexican football. He's on the bench, the striker, a survivor from the 1986 World Cup, and the fans obviously want to see him. They tell me he is paid among the tops of any player in Mexico, around £300,000 a year, Hermosillo. So I wonder if we will see him introduced here. Moore. I've seen an awful lot of him. Reina trying to find Winalda. Campos quickly off his line. You almost need to wear sunglasses, don't you, when Campos is playing?
Yeah, if you dress like that, you've got to play well. You can't afford to have a bad game.
Well, he is playing well, isn't he? Burns into the channel, hoping Winalda can make something of it. Very coolly done indeed by Vidrio. It's the coach, Steve Sampson, taking over from the sacked Bora Milutinovic, who took the United States to the World Cup. Pabon, the Mexican coach, who's carried on with the job after USA 94. Espinosa has it back again. This is Vidrio, one of the new names. He wasn't at the World Cup. Vidrio again, who plays for Guadalajara. Lalas with a stern challenge and an important one. Moore here. And it's going to take a lot better than that to beat Campos in the mood he's in tonight.
He uses those long legs of his, Lalas, very well. Every now and again he gets to balls that really he shouldn't get to, and he wins them back.
Of course, he's one of those who's signed up for the new Major League Soccer. He will be leaving Padova, though he will play for them in the coming season in a loan basis. Mike Burns also in this team. He's going to be part of the Major League Soccer venture too. I'm sure others will follow. Maybe even some of these Mexican players. You never know. Garcia Aspe. Salvador. Oh, and Espinosa! It was a great chance, and he hit it straight at a very grateful Brad Friedel.
Yeah, Friedel did well. Here again, he held his ground and made a good save with his hands.
It was a disappointing finish there, wasn't it?
Yes, I thought that was going to be the one that would prize the match.
Espinosa will be kicking himself here, I'm sure.
Well, he's always looked as though he's going to get in, Ian Espinosa, and he's made a good run there. And the keeper's made a good save. Nice little through ball there by Salvador. Now he's in. He wanted a little bit hard and low would have been the thing, Ian. I mean, I think that if he'd have just a little bit more pace, kept it on the deck, I think it'd have slid in.
Now then, Ronaldo getting plenty of air onto that corner. There's nobody that deep at all, so it was a mysterious one, really.
I suppose someone was supposed to come in late on the back post, but they didn't arrive. And he's whacked it to the back post, Ronaldo. An outswinger, nobody around.
Here's Gutierrez. Raul Gutierrez can play over on the right-hand side as well, if the need arises. But the man occupying that berth tonight is Rodriguez, who plays a great ball to Espinosa here. Salvador waiting in the middle. The shot beaten down by Luis Garcia.
He keeps getting in, Espinosa. And obviously he seems to have more freedom in his second half to move around and be difficult to pick up and mark.
This is Bernal. A feeling growing that maybe one of these two sides could be on the verge of a breakthrough soon. Things are beginning to happen, chances starting to happen. Well, the referee wants to administer another yellow card here. Was that Dooley he was booking? It was not immediately apparent, I must say.
They do say that the sale of pencils in Uruguay has really gone up over these last couple of weeks. These referees have been... Oh, they're taking him off, Espinosa. Interesting.
And Salvador, by the look of it. Double substitution, and Hermosillo is coming on, along with Martinez, the number 19, Manuel Martinez of Guadalajara. But Hermosillo, the survivor of the '86 World Cup, and also the United States introducing the number 14, Frank Klopas. Now, he's had a knock, which I suspect is why he wasn't in the starting lineup, because he did score against Argentina, but he's obviously not too bad that he can't do some service for, what is it, 22 minutes or so. Maybe they want him to take a penalty as well if it comes to it. Well, it's a bit early for that, I suppose.
Well, it's about right. I mean, just over 20 minutes to go. I mean, it gives the players a fair chance to get into the game. And it's fresh legs. And you only need a defender who's perhaps just filling the pace a little bit. And those legs can perhaps get you a chance.
Of course, Hermosillo will also give some aerial strength to that Mexican attack. He's 6 feet 3 inches tall. Interesting to see whether he can make an impact. For the fans who are chanting his name have got their way. Garcia Raspe caught by Hartz, who is booked. Just confirmation that Frank Klopas, the Greek-based striker, is on for the Americans. Burns gets it away. Here's Harks again. He's in towards Hermosillo, bouncing around a bit dangerously for a split second there. Last 20 minutes now, Don.
Yes. And they've just picked the pace up a little bit, the Mexicans. Those two substitutes have lifted the game a little bit.
It seems that booking a minute or two back was not Dooley, but Garcia Raspe. It was not clear who the referee was booking. Now here's Wijnaldum. What I can tell you is we now have 8 yellow cards tonight so far.
What's the record in? How do we stand at the moment? Which is the top team?
Oh, goodness knows. We'll look it up later on. But we're well over the 100 bookings for the tournament. There were 11 bookings in the Argentina-USA game, so I think that's the worst so far. This could take over yet. looks like the Americans may be making another substitution here. Rayner is coming off. So some fresh legs about to be introduced by the Americans. And we shall see who in just a moment. It's Mike Sorba, the experienced central midfield player with over 50 caps to his name, who's on here. He's a bit of a workhorse there. He doesn't perhaps have Rayner's inspiration or passing ability, but he works his socks off, as the coaches like to say. This is Martinez, one of the Mexican subs. Gutierrez. Claudio Suarez knocking it forward. Here's Raul Gutierrez with his pigtail. Ooh, miscue by Dooley. Burns comes to help him out. Garcia Aspe looked very, very lively again. Sorba. Now here's Klopas. Winalda. Klopas continues with his run forward. Good looking move. Moore couldn't quite reach it. Bounce wasn't very kind to him. Good counter-attack with a lot of pace in it.
Yeah, and that's what they're looking for. It's completely counter-attack. That's where they're going deep, and know that Klopas has come back on. He's got a bit of pace, and obviously there's space for him to run into now.
Luis Garcia. Good early ball in, which Caligiuri cut out. But the Mexicans will have a corner. Carlos Hermosillo in there waiting. He once scored 4 in one game when the Mexicans hammered St. Vincent 11-0. Goal against Northern Ireland as well last year. Bernal. Whistle's gone. Colombian referee here tonight, Oscar Ruiz.
I think he said that he'd gone out of play as he crossed the ball. It's bent, gone over the byline, and then come back in on the pitch.
Just over a quarter of an hour away from a second penalty shootout. Colombia beat Paraguay 5-4 on penalties last night with that controversial goalkeeper Rene Higuita saving the final penalty from poor old Carlos Gamara of Paraguay. Will we have a reenactment here tonight? Garcia Aspe getting away. Burns doing some good covering. And that's well worked between defender and goalkeeper. Not too happy there, Vidrio, that was given against him. He seemed to win the ball cleanly. Worked through by Klopas, and Moore's run checked. He made sure he saw nothing of the ball there. Klopas has now got another knock. Klopas, who scored in 5 consecutive games for the United States last year.
And they've took a little bit of a gamble there by putting him on. I mean, if he has got an injury, he could have kind of set him back there a little bit. I think it was just a collision. It could be just knee against knee, and they've shook their knee joint up, and they could get over it. Or it might be more pressure on an injured area that Klopas has got. then he will be a passenger for the rest of the game.
Well, this is bad news for Mexico. The influential Bernal in obvious pain. Whether this is one of the 1 minute jobs, I would doubt. He looks as if he's got a genuine knock there.
Yeah, he looks in trouble.
They seem to be making signs that another substitute should be brought on. They've already made a couple of substitutions, but of course 3 are allowed in this championship. Sorba gives the ball back to the Mexicans.
Pass is okay. He's fine. He's got over his knock.
Plays for Apollon in Greece and spent 4 years with AEK Athens. One of those players who's come back from the dreaded cruciate ligament injury. Luis Garcia. Gutierrez playing it down the line for Martinez. Sorba back to Kobe Jones, who can't find an angle for the return pass. Well, it's, as you can imagine, real tension and anxiety about the place now. Hermosillo trying to play the 1-2 with Garcia Raspe.
You do feel as though they're hanging on in there now, the States. It's all Mexico coming forward, knocking that ball out to the left flank as often as possible.
Garcia Raspe again, he's already come close. Martinez operating down that left-hand side.
Good defending by Kobe Jones, went with his run-up, tracked him all the way back, had to give a corner at the end of it, but that's good defending for an outside run.
We saw the Americans fade a little bit, didn't we, in that game against Chile, the first game they played. Ambris is on for Mexico, the man who was their captain at the World Cup. Got a great shot when he gets forward, the little crew-cut midfield workhorse. Hermosillo on the near post, hammered away by Lawless.
They've got to keep on their toes here. You know, there's needs plenty of shouting in the box. It livens things up. Everybody talking, everybody chatting.
Another corner, and away Suarez was in there, the defender, and Hermosillo as well, I think, who got the final touch to it. It's Hermosillo's effort that was scrambled away by the Americans. This is Gutierrez. Cut out by Winalda. Just looking a bit disorganized at the moment, the USA. They're going through one of their flat passages. Garcia Raspe.
What's happened, Ian, is that the front players are not playing now. You know, they can't get out their own half, the States. The front players are not hanging on to the ball. They're not making runs. You know, when you get like this, the front player is absolutely vital. And all they have to do is get hold of the ball and keep it. So you can get out and support them, then you can start to play farther up the pitch. If they are not trying to get away from their markers and you can't play that ball up to them, then you're under pressure all the time. I mean, more times than not, you can hear the coaches back home in England, they're always saying, hang on to that ball, keep it, hold it, hold it. So they know they can get out their own box and they can push farther up the field.
Sorba wide for John Hart. Now Eric Winalda. Taken out. That's given the Americans A free kick. Now, what havoc or chaos can they cause here? How can they threaten Jorge Campos's goal? John Harkes will take it. Oh, and the neat header was from Moore. It's the right idea.
No, well, he couldn't get any pace on it. He got a nice glancing header. And at first, when it was on its way, you thought, that's got a chance of going in. And all of a sudden, like, he's come out Campos and had to take it. No real pace on it, was there?
Harkes again. Moore's glancing header.
He's done well, Moore, there, because he's got across his defender and got first into that near post. Just wanted a little bit more pace on the kick.
America's top scorer a couple of years ago, but nobody on the score sheet as yet tonight. Martinez. Has in truth been a untidy, unsatisfactory sort of game in many ways, this, but it does look now as if it's going to end with the drama of a penalty shootout, unless one of these two sides can find something in the next 7 minutes or so. Vidrio cutting it out for Mexico. It's a nice bit of work by Martinez again. He's shown up well since he came on. This is him again, now Garcia Raspe. Martinez. Luis Garcia. And then Garcia Raspe. Hermosillo is in there. Friedel, very decisive.
Yeah, good goalkeeping. He attacked the ball all the way. He took a little deflection on the way and he held up, got off his goal line, really attacked the ball.
Just over 6 minutes to a shootout. Mexico knocked out of the World Cup. Reminder that that was in a shootout against the Bulgarians in the second round. Fans wondering if it might go their way this time. That looked like a push on Burns by Luis Garcia.
Well, that's just silly. And you've got a defender running back to his own goal. He's got a problem. And he gives a silly foul away. Absolutely silly.
Kobe Jones comes off. And Tab Ramos comes on for the USA. With just over 5 minutes remaining. I wonder if that's one with the spot kicks in mind. Who knows? We'll find out. Steve Sampson knows, but we can't talk to him just at the moment. Ambrice winning it back for the Mexicans. Suarez. Gutierrez, who's got lots of room over on that far side. He's now moved ahead of Martinez. He's hugging that touchline since he came on. Manuel Martinez of Guadalajara. Well, I noticed that Bernal has gone off now for Mexico with an injury, so he won't have to take any penalties. He missed one against the Bulgarians in that shootout, so he might be quite relieved that he hasn't got to be out there doing it again. In fact, I'm sure he is. Alexi Lalas towards Moore. They really have cancelled each other out, these two. There have been chances, but frankly not that many of them. Joe Max Moore. Campos comes out, says that's mine.
What you would say this for the States is that because they have lost some very important players in this side, they've done well to readjust and play a completely different system to how they started the tournament, and you've got to give them a lot of credit for that. I mean, the two fullbacks have been playing fullback up till this game. Now in this game, they're both playing centre-backs in there with Alexei Lalas. John Hawke started outside left, now he's centre midfield. I mean, they've had to adjust and rearrange their side. So this is not a bad performance.
Have you been surprised, though, that neither side has really gone for the jugular and said, to heck with penalty shootouts, we want to really try and win this in normal time? Because it has been very, very cautious kind of game, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. And like you said early on, it is because they know each other inside out. And that makes it difficult.
Sorba. Oh, the 1-2, Harks. Mexicans crowd him out. Burns picks it up again, though. Joe Max Moore chasing. Can he get there? Well, Vitrio made sure that he didn't. The Americans feel there was a foul there. Now, what's the referee giving here? He wants the ball.
Yeah, that defender never played the ball. I would think it would be at least obstruction.
But it isn't. Now, what is Campos up to now?
I think he's got a highly coloured jockstrap underneath, and he wanted to show it to everybody.
I think he's making sure that the advertisers get a good plug with a close-up shot. That's what I think.
Yes.
Because he's got all kinds of paraphernalia on those shorts. There's all stuff about surfers clubs and Acapulco and goodness knows what else. Well, he's going to be in the spotlight pretty soon by the look of things here. In any case, Ambrice trying to work it forward. Martinez brought down, no foul. There will be this time. Garcia Aspe is off. Second yellow card.
Yeah, he was very late into Lalas. And I think he was a little bit over the top as well.
Already in the book, Garcia Aspe, and he can hardly complain, really, can he?
That's a nasty tackle, no doubt about that. He should be on his way. He's shaking his head, but he knows what he's done.
Well, I don't know whether he would have been one of the penalty takers for the Mexicans. He could have been. They are now down to 10 men. It's probably not going to matter in terms of open play because we're now into injury time anyway, but I would have thought he would definitely have been one of the penalty takers. Oh, Winalda. Well, I thought for just a moment Eric Winalda was going to have the chance to settle it right at the death.
It's just a half chance. I don't know why he didn't have a dig there. I think it was a cross.
Almost a minute into injury time. There'll be a bit of it, I'm sure. Sending off right in the last minute.
He does look a no-nonsense referee. He's got a very stern face.
And Musillo hasn't made too much impact despite the fans urging their coach to put him on earlier on. Vidrio wide for Rodriguez, and he runs it out of play, and that in many ways is symptomatic of the kind of game we've had here. But remember, Brazil and Argentina ought to be a different kettle of fish entirely, and we have a penalty shootout here in Paysandu to decide which of these two goes in to the semi-finals of the 1995 Copa America.
Yeah, well, here we go again, Ian. Our second one.
It's getting to be a habit, isn't it? Don and I were at the microphone when Colombia won the shootout against Paraguay last night. Now then, who are the unlucky five? It does come down sometimes, doesn't it, to who fancies it, really, in this situation.
Yes, and it's like I've always said, normally you think that it would be most of the front players will take the pens. That's not so. If you look at the players who come forward, I'll bet you three of those five at least kind of 75% of the lads who step up, they're midfield players or defenders.
So they have to sort it all out now administratively. You can see the word surfer written on the back of Campos's shorts. That is another of his pastimes. He does something called acrobatic surfing. I don't know too much about that myself.
I don't know a thing about it, Ian. I can't even swim.
But Jorge Campos can, and he can keep goal as well, as he proved tonight with some important saves. So they've got to sort out who gets the job. Nervy moments for the players, Tom.
Yes, it is. I would think that they'd sorted out before they played the game. If the coach has done his job properly, you don't want to get into this situation and these penalty shootouts, but if it comes, and you've got to be ready for it.
The Mexicans, knocked out of the World Cup in a penalty shootout, will have bitter memories of that. Are they going to go through to the semi-finals? Remember, they made the final last time. The Americans, who were eliminated in the first phase, would be a big, big achievement for them to reach the last four. I'm just trying to think through. I don't think they've been involved in very many penalty shootouts.
A new experience. And you look at the two goalkeepers there together, and you say, well, if you're taking them against Campos, stick them up in the top corner. If you're taking them against Friegel, hard and low.
Well, we shall soon see who gets to take them first, what end it's all going to happen. Mexico 1, Bulgaria 1. It was in New York on the 5th of July last year, and in that match Mexico's goal was a penalty by Garcia Aspe, who has been sent off and will not be able to take a penalty here. Bulgaria won the shootout 3-1 on penalties. So, will they be haunted by that? What happens here? Have they learnt from it? Maybe they've been... I'm sure both sides in training will have practiced penalties, won't they?
While they're reorganising like this and getting ready, it makes you wonder whether some of the lads ought to go down the bottom end and have a little practice, like being in the nets at cricket. Go and knock a few in quickly. You know,
I don't think they're allowed to do that.
Oh no. I mean,
I don't because
it always takes about 10 minutes before they actually get to the shootout.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, but I'm sure the referee would say, "Oh no, no, you don't. I'm in charge out here," and he clears the penalty area. There are rules governing it, but I don't know. It's try it sometime. Now Eric Winalda will go first for the United States. Campos, will he prove a hero as René Higuita, another of the world's most flamboyant goalkeepers, did for Colombia? Ronaldo, 3 goals already in the tournament. Make that 4. Five penalties each, just to remind anyone who isn't
I've got to say
familiar.
This for Campos, how he can take off with such a wide stance. When he's got to shift he's got to bring his feet together before he can get a jump. Why he's got his legs so far apart, I don't know. I don't know whether he's trying to make himself big or what, I don't know.
Well, here is the top goal scorer in the Copa America, Luis Garcia, to try to get the Mexicans off to a similarly good start, which he does. So both men employing their ace marksman first. 1-1.
Well, good pen, send the goalkeeper there. He sent him completely the wrong way.
He didn't half belt this as well, didn't he?
Yeah, nice and firm.
Joe Max Moore for the United States. Scores. Nicely done.
I cannot understand why he stands with his legs so wide apart. His first movement is to bring his feet together, which obviously will slow him down before he can take off. He should get himself in a position that he can take off from the position he's standing in.
Moved before it was taken as well, was half a yard off the line, but they all seem to get away with that. Now, here is Carlos Hermosillo, the darling of the Mexican fans. He might not be if he misses this. This to make it 2-2. Oh, great save. Great save by Brad Friedel. So, the Americans have built themselves a little bridgehead, maybe to the semis.
That was a good save. He read it well. To his right side, 2 hands to the ball. Palmed it away. Good save. And there was a lot of pace in that kick.
That really was a tremendous save. Paul Caligiuri.
He looks like a wicket keeper by the way he stands.
Hasn't really sniffed any of the 3 so far, and that puts the pressure now even more on the Mexicans. They really, surely, have to put this next one away. Coyote is the next man in the spotlight for Mexico.
I tell you what, when you look at that goal and free goal there.
Coyote, oh, not a good one. Too near, and Mexico are in big, big trouble. Friedel is putting his name up in lights here.
I mean, he's so big. I mean, he must fill the goal up. You must put the ball, if you're taking that penalty against Friedel, you put the ball down, look at the goal, and you think, where the hell can I put this? He's filled the goal in. What
it means is that if the United States score their next penalty, they're in the semi-finals. Frank Klopas is the man with that responsibility. If he puts this in, the USA can begin their celebrations. And he does! The USA go all the way to the last 4 of Copa America. Spot on with the kicks. 4 out of 4. The Mexicans can't match that after 2 misses. So Winalda, Joe Max Moore, full colour jury. Now Frank Klopas like this, and the Americans will play Brazil or Argentina in the semis.
Well, I think they really deserve it, because they did come into the game with a new set of tactics. They had to rearrange their side. They got it together. They had to play a different way. They couldn't play as positively as they did against Argentina. They had to pull back into their own half and play a very cagey game. And they've come through on the penalties. Well, good luck to them.
I tell you what, don't wander into a bar in Mexico City or Acapulco or Guadalajara and mention penalty shootouts, because you might not get out alive. They've been knocked out of the World Cup in a shootout. Now they've been knocked out of the Copa America in a shootout. But congratulations to the United States, who win the penalty shootout 4-1 after what, frankly, was a fairly arid 90 minutes of normal play. But the USA continue their march up the world ladder with a semi-final place here.
With the Americans, the public relations are not neglected. The United States victorious there. It didn't look too good for them when they lost their group match against Bolivia, but things have certainly swung around. A very spirited and determined display, creating a big shock against Argentina, and they out-battled Mexico and took their chances when they arrived in the penalty shootout. We'll see you again in just a moment. Don't forget Brazil against Argentina coming shortly.